I'm just going to kick off now, guys. So I'm joined here by our guest speaker today, Evelyn, who is coming live from Vietnam, in her apartment there. She is currently teaching English in Vietnam. Evelyn completed a 5-month internship program with us there, before traveling across Asia and later returning to Vietnam to work as a full-time teacher there. So we're so excited about this webinar today to help you plan your next adventure, or an exciting new career in Vietnam. Now is the perfect time because we have just opened our Vietnam internship, which starts in August this year. So today I'm going to I'm going to quickly go through the details of the program and how to apply. I'm then going to move on to my interview with Evelyn, because I'm sure that's why you're all here today as well. And at the end, then you'll be able to ask your questions for Evelyn or myself as well if you wish. As I said, you can shout them out at the end, or you can pop them in the chat box as well. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start off with what is required to apply, because that is usually the first question. So to apply for an internship, if nobody has heard of a TEFL internship before, I can explain. I've actually done two myself in the past. It was the best decision I ever made. I think it's a really good choice for someone that maybe needs a little extra support in moving abroad, or their first time teacher. I know myself, I was really not mentally prepared to find a job abroad, for example, in Thailand, or to find accommodation there, to deal with all the visa paperwork, everything like that. It's an absolute headache. So I thought internship, great idea to start with. And we do run one in Vietnam. Locations are primarily Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, which are the most popular locations there. And it runs, as I said, from August this year, for up to 5 months. Sometimes it can be 4.5 months, depending on the school semester. So requirements, just to go through them quickly. So you must be a passport holder from Ireland, UK, Canada, Australia, USA, or New Zealand. If you have a EU passport, that is open for screening. So all you need to do is just get in touch with one of our advisors, tell us your background. And if you have a fluent level of English, you could be eligible as well. But typically, this is open to native English speakers. Age range there, you'd be looking at 20 to 40. If you're kind of outside that bracket, again, you can get in touch with us. If you're on either end there, or you have a bit of maybe teaching experience behind you, that can help as well. Obviously, as well, you need your TEFL qualification is essential, particularly for working in Vietnam, because you will go through the process of authenticating and legalizing your certificate for your visa. So that's actually included in all of the paperwork. But with us, that will be included in the package, the internship package. So the course, the 120-hour TEFL cert, which you need to do before you head over. As well there, a bachelor's degree is essential. It's not a preference, it's actually linked to the visa, so that is essential for applying. A clean criminal record, quite standard for these programs, and a clean bill of health. Again, any questions around that, you can get in touch with us. What's included in this package, you have a monthly salary of approximately we did the conversion with the Vietnamese. I think it's a dong, Evelyn, is that right? Vietnamese dong? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's about $1,000, which is really attractive, particularly in a country there, scaling with the cost of living. And then even better, if you complete your contract with them, you get a completion bonus of $500. As I said before, you have your 120-hour course included. We've also added on specialist courses. One that's really great is teaching English to yoga and mindfulness. I have to say, those skills were essential for survival in a classroom of when I had maybe 40 young girls. I'm not sure if you've ever used those techniques, Evelyn, but mindfulness is definitely key in the classroom there to keep things sane. So we have some really great specialist courses as well included. Um, You'll also get picked up from the airport and get transfer. Again, in my own personal experience, this is probably one of the best perks because it's pretty daunting arriving into a new country and you don't know where to go. So to have someone there to pick you up is fantastic. They have a brilliant orientation week as well, which is held in Hanoi. And your stay is provided alongside this. And that's where you get to meet other interning teachers, which has to be one of the highlights, I think, of an internship program. But I'm sure Evelyn can tell us a bit more about that later. Also some Vietnamese lessons thrown in there as well, just to get you by. And a brilliant perk as well is rent-free accommodation. So that can't be understated enough. They're going to help you with all of that, and you don't have to worry about footing the bill for rent. Um, on top of all of this, and as I said before, the whole part of an internship is to get this ongoing support. So not only are you getting TEFL training support from us, you're also getting support from our in-country partners who are experts about living in Vietnam, teaching in Vietnam, and help you every step of the way. As well as I said, that tricky visa papers and getting everything legalized. It's a tricky part. Um, any questions so far there, guys, you want me to cover? Pop it into the chat anyway, guys, and I can always come back to it if you do. Um, Applying is very straightforward. You get in touch with us. I recommend speaking with an advisor, having a quick phone call just to go through again our requirements, what's expected of the program. And then once you're signed on, once you book the program, you need to fill out an application form that's sent to our partners then who are going to screen it and find you a school and really take it from there. So they'll have step-by-step guides for everything. But definitely, guys, get in touch, have a great chat with one of our advisors about the program. They give you all the details there as well about booking on. We also have a promotion still running. If you didn't catch it on our website yet, the coupon code is Bunny15. So that's going to give you 15% off this Vietnam program as well. So if you want to jot that down, you can book on and get that discount. I'll just double check if there's any questions come up there for us. I just see a quick question there from Jason. Do we assist teachers finding employment? Yeah, we do. I'm actually going to go into that a bit more, if you don't mind, Jason, later on, just about finding a specific employment in Vietnam for different niches or specialisms. I'll definitely address that at the end for you. But I know everyone's dying to hear from Evelyn, so I'm going to crack on. So hi, Evelyn. How are things?
Hello. All good, all good. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, no, thanks again for joining us. So Evelyn, I just kind of want to start off really from day dot. Why did you choose to do an internship program with us? Why did you decide to teach in Vietnam specifically? Maybe if you can take us through that thought process.
Yeah, for sure. So if I'm thinking back now, it seems like a long time ago, but so I finished my degree. I was in UCD, and while I was in UCD, I had gone on my first big kind of traveling trip through one of the societies there. And it just made me kind of realize there was something I wanted to do more of, was just see more of the world and travel to farther places and all of these kind of big dreams. And but I knew myself I wouldn't have enough finances to carry me through just solo traveling or anything like that. I knew I'd need to have some kind of income along the way. And so that's when I kind of came across TEFL the first time. And I had my degree. So when I started to read about requirements and such things, I was like, okay, this is something to consider. And yeah, signed up for the 120-hour course. And I was working part-time alongside that back in Ireland for just a couple months as I was getting ready. And then, yeah, the big day came then. I had decided to come to Vietnam. I don't have a crazy reason for choosing Vietnam, but it was just somewhere that in the back of my mind I always wanted to come here. And so when I saw the course was available, I felt really drawn to it. And I have no regrets. I've loved every second of being here, and I'm still here a year and a half later. So, definitely no regrets. And I can only say positive things about the whole experience. So yeah, that's kind of how I came to be here.
Yeah, definitely destiny. It feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah, as you
It
said, a
does
bit of
feel
a
a bit like
pull.
that, to be
Something
fair.
about it, something about Vietnam. Yeah,
There was, yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's definitely a popular choice for sure. Could you take us through then, Evelyn, your first few months of teaching and how you got on with that?
100%. So, as you were saying about the orientation week, oh, it was such a good time. Arriving, yeah, I got picked up by one of the coordinators over here who was just the friendliest, funniest woman ever. And we're still in touch today, actually. She's in Hanoi. So that was great getting brought from the airport, as you say, bustling big city, brand new. Everything can be a little bit overwhelming when you first get there and step out. So having that person to just kind of grab you and say, "Don't worry, I've got you. I'm taking you here. You're all good," was such a relief. Then we arrived at our hotel. We got introduced to everybody. There was, I think, about 20 of us in Hanoi for orientation. So loads of people to meet, from all backgrounds. We had Americans, some English, a couple of Irish. Yeah, there's a bit of everything in there. There's kind of all mix of people. And we got to know each other for about 4 days. And we had all of these, yeah, sorting out paperwork and all of those types of things that had to be done. Anything related to SIM cards, they helped us out with. And the health checks, I think, all had to be done. That was all taken care of. We were packed and parceled and put where we needed to be.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so I got placed then in Haiphong, which is the coastal city near enough to Halong Bay. And I was with 14 teachers in total. So we all became really, really close. We were living in the same accommodation together. It was absolutely hilarious in our accommodation, just living with
Memories.
a big family. Like it was so much fun. And yeah, so yeah, first week can be a bit overwhelming. You get nervous, you don't know what to expect. There's a lot of information about what's coming, but until you step into the classroom, it's a lot of almost noise. But as soon as you do it, you just flow into it. That's
Mm.
all I can say to people is it seems quite uh overwhelming and intense, and all of a sudden you just do it. You step into it and it's no longer this big scary thing that's kind of you're wondering how is it gonna go. um so yeah, I must say once that first week was done, we felt super comfortable with what we had to do. We understood what was expected of us, and yeah, we were getting driven to and from every school, so we didn't have to drive ourselves or figure anything out like that, which is great. If you end up coming to Vietnam, guys, the roads are crazy.
Was that like an Uber, Evelyn, or a Grab?
So through the schools, they had like their local taxi companies. So they had their own people that were directly linked to the school. And then you drive around to different public schools. You get given any age group from the little wee ones, like 4 years old, who are just learning hello, goodbye, and you sing lots of songs and play games. And then you move your way up different age groups. You can get the middle school kids who are like 12 to 15, or even some high school kids. I had a few classes with them. And they're so funny. Oh my gosh. Like the standard of English in Haiphong wasn't very high in general. So mostly you were there to kind of inspire a bit of interest in learning a language, just encouraging them to try and speak in any way, even if it was very broken, and just kind of get a bit of communication going. That was more so the task than strictly teaching like
Yeah.
nitty-gritty language skill of or like
Grammar.
grammar.
Yeah.
It was any way of encouraging speaking, accent, a bit of fluency. That was more so the role. And we had a great time, so much fun. Um,
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's why it's so crucial as well, doing the TEFL course, or if you're kind of doing these specialist courses in teaching. I know for me personally, when I was doing this kind of young learners course, just to get like ideas for games, to get them talking, to get them, out of their shell is probably one of the biggest challenges as a teacher, I think.
100%. And some days it works really well, and then the next day it's a disaster, and you're like, oh
The
no, but
board, yeah.
it's up and down. You find your pace, and yeah, even just classroom to classroom, like some kids love games and they're dying to play them, and then you go in the room next door and they're just not having it. But yeah, you figure it out, you see what works, and you get to know the individual kids as well. You definitely have to be patient with yourself. I would say yeah, not being too hard on yourself the first couple of weeks. You're finding your feet. There's going to be a little bit of like seeing what works and what doesn't. And yeah, and you're going to have a few language barriers too when you're not being fully understood. But it is what's wanted. They want foreign teachers to speak all in English so that it's completely immersive for the students. That's that's what they're after. So yeah, it's a great way to try and build your own communication skills, I must say, overcoming the language.
Absolutely. What would be your top tip as a teacher, even if it's to do with resources or lesson planning? Would you have any good tips?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would definitely say some teachers don't want to do any prep before they go in the classroom. I do think while you should be flexible and you should be able to try to change your ideas if it's not working out, that you need to go in with some kind of a plan. Because there's nothing worse than being in front of a room of 30 to 40 kids and just being like, oh my God, I've got nothing. Like,
Yeah.
it's a terrible, terrible feeling. I wouldn't recommend. So having a rough plan, have utilize ChatGPT as well. Get some
Yeah.
ideas for sure. I do not stress that enough with people. Like, don't be afraid to get a few like last minute exercises just to have in your back pocket if you're through all your material, it's only been 30 minutes. Have a couple extra things just saved on your laptop that you can pull out at the last minute. Um, Couple materials. I mean, I know people don't want to buy a lot of stuff, but having like a little soft football is great. Just like passing around the
Yeah.
classroom, I think is so like almost all the kids love that. Even
Yeah, I
if
love that.
they're terrible English, you can just pass it around, asking questions. They'll probably lob it at each other, but get a good soft one and you'll have no problems. Yeah,
No,
so
that's brilliant. I'm so jealous because back in the day I didn't have any ChatGPT. I don't know how I did
yeah,
it.
fair, fair. I must say it does
But
help a lot if you're last minute or you get called in to help someone out on a class. You just need a
yeah,
quick, right, what am I gonna do? Yeah, it does help for sure.
brilliant, brilliant. What do you enjoy the most about teaching, or what kind of makes you so passionate about it? Because obviously you are, since you've decided to stay on as well there and continue teaching.
Yeah, well, I definitely didn't expect to love the teaching as much as I did. I was more attracted to the travel aspect at first, and the teaching was kind of something I thought was just going
Secondary.
to help fund that. But as I've been doing it, I've just enjoyed it more and more. So I originally studied psychology. So in terms of like I've always had an interest in people, I suppose. Um, but then, yeah, I've worked with now pretty much all the age groups of kids you can get. And I just there's something about trying to encourage a room of all these kids, and you'll get everything from the super enthusiastic ones that are just clinging to your every word to the one who just couldn't care if you disappeared. And yet just trying to get them a little bit enthusiastic, like you'll have all the different layers to it in terms of the success, and you build a nice rapport with the kids. Like one of my favorite things now is when the kids come up to me to like tell me things in their own life, like they want to share with you, you know, having these connections. And especially now, having been here for longer, I've gotten to know a lot of my students pretty well, and they can tell you all about the good things you should do in Vietnam that people don't know about, you know? So they'll give you all
Yeah,
the tips, where to
true. Yeah.
go, what to eat is another thing. They'll be like, teacher, have you tried this? I'll be like, I don't know what that is. They're like, go here, try this, and you'll love it. Like, oh, it's really nice when you have these connections, and yeah, it just
Yeah.
feels really special for sure.
I think that's what I loved about teaching as well, is you just get
Mm.
this instant community. I think if you did any other job, I think it would be quite difficult to make friends or, as you said, with building those kind of connections, or you're getting recommendations, or you're talking to the
Mm.
parents, the community there. I think it is probably one of the easier jobs in terms of moving abroad to sort of find your feet there.
100%. And in the companies as well, you'll be working with other expat teachers. They're all in the same boat. Instant friend package right there. And
Yeah.
then even the local teachers, like we've been working with the local Vietnamese teachers as well. So they're also eager to get to know you if you're eager to get to know them. So yeah, you've just so many people to meet if you're interested in trying to just meet people from all over who have totally different life. Yeah, it's such a great way to do that for sure.
Could you just take us through maybe a typical working day, sort of the times when you do your classes and your lesson planning, and maybe what you like to do at the weekend as well to let off a bit of steam?
Yeah, for sure. So during the internship, I suppose it's not much different to now, but during the internship, I was working, uh, I think it was maybe around 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning. And then you teach maybe one or two classes. Depending on the age group, it would change the length of the class. You could have like 45 minutes for younger kids, or you could be doing a double class for the older high school ones, could be an hour and a half. But either way, by around 11, you're done for lunch. And what's so fun in Vietnam is you have nap time, siesta time. So everyone's like curling up for a nice little sleep. You can get all your lovely food, oh, which is just so delicious out here. Oh, I'm obsessed with the food. So there's so much, and it's so cheap. It's great value. And you'll have hilarious conversations with like the street vendors and everything. It's just hilarious.
What's your favorite food, Evelyn?
Favorite like Vietnamese dish?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. But one that I come back to again and again is called bun cha. So it's
Mm.
Buncha. And it's, I think, primarily from Hanoi, but you can get it everywhere. And it's just kind of grilled pork on noodles, and it's this lovely savory broth and lots of green leaves in there as well. Oh, it sounds very basic, but it's delicious. I go for it every time.
Brilliant. I'll
Oh,
have to write that down now.
it's so good. Oh my gosh. So that's the morning. Then out again in the afternoon, similar kind of thing. In my current job, I'm usually finished, or I am finished before 5 p.m. The internship, we were also sometimes doing the evening classes for the evening school. So it gave us experience like teaching the grinds classes, all that sort of thing. So you get like once you've done the internship, you have experience in every type of language teaching, I would say. Like the after school, high school, middle school, and primary school. And the after schools can also have the younger kids. It really depends. But you come out of it, you've taught everything. So you have experience in all
That's
the age
brilliant.
groups. Yeah.
That's
So
brilliant.
it
Yeah.
was no problem landing another job afterwards because we dealt with everything at that point.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, so yeah, that was great. But currently I finish at around 5 p.m. And then other than that, you have a little downtime. Uh, we got to prep our own classes on the internship. So again, that was experience. They give you like a vague plan with sort of a topic, for example, like animals, and they'll give you some keywords that they want the kids to focus on. But from there, you have free reign to come up with some icebreakers, review what they know, do sentence structures, anything like that. It's mostly just repetition and going on their pronunciation, and you're going to have a big class. So, yeah, trying to just manage that. You'll definitely need to prepare a few activities, but it doesn't take long. Once you've finished your first week of internship, you have sort of a pattern for how you want to structure your lesson. So you can do your preparation in an hour or two of an afternoon. Or if you have a free slot, usually people have a free slot in the week that's specifically for your admin stuff and for your class prep. You'll easily get it done in that window. And the nice thing of Vietnam is all of the coffee shops are fabulous. So you just take your laptop, go find these ridiculously beautiful coffee shops. If any of you are on the travel Instagrams, you'll see them, but oh my gosh, they're
The
ridiculous.
cat cafes and all that.
Cat cafes, but there'll be like a waterfall in the middle. It's like the Singapore
Wow.
airport cafe. Like you're just like, what is go? And it's just a random cafe on the street. Like they're exquisite, and the coffee is out of this world. So you take yourself off, do your little prep, sun is shining, have your gorgeous coffee. Then, yeah, your evenings are your own mostly. So that, local gyms, dance classes, language classes. I know some people get nervous about the Vietnamese, but you definitely don't need it, but it does make your life a little more fun if you try to learn a few bits and pieces. And it's so appreciated by the people here. So it's worth your while trying to learn a little bit. And yeah, then on the weekends, I personally just love to travel to all new places around the country. So I mean, I do think I've combed through a huge amount of it now, north, south, and Midlands, everything. But it's all very accessible. There's the Grab bikes here, Grab taxis. You can book if, especially with the other teachers, everyone's interested in seeing Vietnam. So there's no problem with planning trips. It's what everyone's really there to do. So on your weekends, yeah, get them booked. You can Hanoi, go north to Halong Bay, Sapa, everywhere. Oh, you see it all.
Do you have any good tips for maybe living abroad there or kind of the move over there in general?
Specifically Vietnam. I suppose a few things to keep in mind. If you're in the north, it's a little colder than you think. So if you're in Hanoi,
Oh,
it's very different to Ho Chi Minh. So where I am now, we were just talking before the Zoom, but it's around 36 degrees every day. Like right now, it's 7:30 p.m. and it's 34 degrees outside.
oh wow.
Yeah. So it's hot and it stays hot. But
Yeah.
if you're in the north though, in Hanoi, it's much cooler. When I was in Haiphong, you'd be sitting, kind of more like 10 to 15 degrees on a normal day. And then
Oh,
on a good day you'll get up into the 20s, but you're not getting into that scorching or like super stuffy heat like you are in the south.
yeah.
So something to keep in mind for your packing because I was not
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I came with all my summer wear and I was like, oh, it's a little bit chilly sometimes. Um, but yeah, so that's one thing. Uh, Anything else specific? Off the top of my head, there's nothing jumping out at me. Just yeah, learn a couple of phrases to be friends with the
Yeah,
locals.
yeah,
And I suppose one thing that puts people off, but I don't think it should, sometimes you work on a Saturday. It's the Vietnamese way. They all go to school on Saturdays. But it's usually not every day. They try to accommodate foreign teachers because they know people don't want to do that. But I suppose just something to keep in mind as well. But you'll factor it in your plans with your friends and it
yeah.
won't really affect you that much. Usually it'll be just like one class on the Saturday morning or something like that. So, but just something to
Yeah.
know.
No, that's perfect. I know. I think sometimes you can prepare as much as possible, but you just got to go with the flow as well when you're in Vietnam.
100%. It's a very like
Yeah.
chill country as well. You'll see hilarious stuff going on. But yeah,
Yeah,
if you're open
I
to
can
just
only
the
imagine.
madness of it, you'll have a great time.
I actually seen some great questions in the chat here for you as well, Evelyn.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely kind of wrap it up there with our Q&A session. Any questions again there now, guys, pop it in the chat box. Or if you're feeling brave, you can shout it out as well for myself or Evelyn. But I just saw a few pop up there. Let me just scroll in there now for you. Oh, it's quite a few. Um, I think I saw a great question about culture shock. I don't know if I can find it anymore.
Oh, from Veronica, is it?
Um, I think there was a good one there. Oh yes. What was the biggest culture shock moment you had when you first stepped into the classroom there? Sorry, I think we might have just broken up a
Let me
small bit there. Can you hear
think.
me?
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
I can hear you. You got me?
perfect. You're back. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Did you catch that question?
Yeah. Is it the biggest culture shock first in the classroom?
That's it. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. I suppose what's common here, you have very large classes. So where
Yeah.
I feel like at home, at least in my memory, I think the biggest class I was ever in school was around 30 kids. I'm sure that varies for other people. But out here, you can have 40 kids, you can have 45 kids. I've not had any bigger class than that, but I'm sure it exists. There's kind of no number is too big for the classrooms.
Mm.
Um, some things, depending on which part of the country you're in the north, sometimes the local teachers do discipline their kids. You do not. You definitely do not.
Yeah.
Um, but you might see that occasionally. They're not beating them to a pulp, but they sometimes you might see them get a smack from their local teacher, just
Mm.
so you don't feel overwhelmed by that. Can sometimes be a bit, oh, not sure how you feel about that. Um, and then also noise. Vietnamese people love to talk, and that does not change in the classroom. So you'll almost never get a fully silent room. Um, so I suppose knowing that they're not necessarily being disrespectful, but there's generally quite a commotion. Um, but yeah, there's also huge respect for teachers though, which is a lovely
Mm.
feeling. They will address you very clearly. They tend to stand when you walk into the classroom is a thing, or they stand to answer questions. So don't be surprised for that. Like even for a short question, they'll stand up, answer the question, sit down. Um, so yeah, uh, those are kind of a few things that jumped out to me the first week that
Yeah.
I kind of was like, oh, didn't expect
I
that.
know. Yeah, it's
But
I think sometimes it's a
yeah,
bit of a time warp in certain places, which can be hard to adjust at first, but it's just
yeah,
the way
yeah.
things are. Yeah, yeah,
Just different way of
absolutely.
doing things, but you get the hang of it pretty fast. And
Exactly.
yeah, if you're open to it, you'll be
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
Um, just on that, actually, Veronica as well said, any advice on using games in the class? I know you mentioned about using a ball as well, which is a great tip.
Hmm.
Which have worked well for you, and which ones didn't really go as planned? I'm sure many of those as
Uh,
well.
that's a good question. I would definitely say you'll go in with the best intentions with games, but simple is always the best. If there's too
Yeah.
many rules, it will get lost. And as I say, the standard of English isn't always the best, or it's something you can't really prepare for. You'll have to get to know your kids a little bit and see which ones are up for a more complicated game and which ones just won't be able to get the rules. So I would say simple is best. Something that can be demonstrated quite easily first works very well. Um, yeah, if you have a stronger kid in the class, sometimes get them to do it first, so the others can
Yeah.
watch. Um, in terms of games that work well, try to engage the full classroom. If you're trying to do games that kind of jump between kids, chaos is gonna erupt. Like
Mm,
it's just gonna start spiraling and you're gonna
fast.
start losing them one by one. So some great games are anything where they can be lined up at the board to like writing things on the board or they tend to have these like chalkboards in every classroom. Almost every kid has one. So you can do games where you just shout out a word and like the fastest kid to write the word, they'll all hold up the boards. That's a great one. And I found they all get really competitive and they love that. Um, so yeah, that's a good one. And
Yeah, simple.
the point systems, they really love a good point system and stickers. I know that's kind of a common enough thing, but they love that out here. So buy a bunch of rolls of stickers and just have a winning team or a winning student for all the activities, dish out the stickers. Yeah, they'll be all about that. So, and they're very competitive. So they will make sure you do not forget the stickers
Yeah, every day reminds you.
every
Um,
day.
just a pivot there. So the standard of accommodation, what's that
Mm.
been like for you, Evelyn?
So on the internship, we were staying in a hotel that was kept specifically for the teachers. So we all had our own rooms. There is variation. They are simple. That's definitely worth
Mm,
keeping in mind. And there's sort of, in terms of like, you'll have your air conditioning, so you'll have that on. But they're simple. And I suppose people just need to keep that in mind. You're not going to go and stay in the Ritz or something. It's you're being given free
yeah,
accommodation. So you have a bed and it's clean. And the rest, you can easily get all your cozy supplies. Like you can go and buy your lovely blankets and your pillows if that's what you want. But your base room, I had no issues with mine. I had my own bathroom, my own bed, nice big space, lovely big window. Yeah, I had no issues with mine. The laundry was also available downstairs in the hotel. We could get that done. There was like a really small fee of like maybe €1 or two or something like that.
mm,
Um, yeah, so I would just say I know some people when we arrived, they got a bit upset. I think they were just expecting something very fancy.
mm.
So just manage your expectations is all I would say. It's not, there's no problems with the rooms and also the people that work there will try everything. If you need something like a few of us were looking for kettles and stuff like that. They did everything to try and source them for us and they did. Um, or yeah, if there's any issue you come across, you can let them know. I would
Yeah,
say across North Vietnam, it's not much of a problem down here but sometimes you can get a little bit of mold coming in just based on the climate. You're going to find that everywhere in Vietnam, and they'll clean it up for you and everything. But something to flag if you start noticing any, it's going to be yeah all over North Vietnam. It's just the time of year. There's a climate, yeah,
it's not
just
about the
for
weather.
like
Yeah.
the weather gets a little bit damp and warm, so
Mm,
yeah, it can happen. But yeah, rooms will be well cleaned, no issues. Yeah, hope that
that's
answers your
perfect. Yeah.
question.
No, no, that's perfect. Thank you. I know that's always kind of a burning question for people.
Yeah.
Um, I just see a few questions there in regards to eligibility, which I'd be happy to answer. Someone said they are a Japanese national, but they went through the British education system, including university. Would they be eligible? Unfortunately, a lot of the time it is tied to passport. I wish it was different. I do, because I've met so many amazing teachers all over the world. But sometimes it's these kind of visa barriers that really stop situations like this. But I'd say get in touch with us anyway, Yuri, with your kind of background and everything like that, and we can look into your eligibility or maybe if there's other pathways available. But unfortunately, sometimes it's the passport, which can be the barrier. Joshua said then as well, so aside from holders of the passports I mentioned, others are not eligible. They are open to screening EU passports as well. If you have neither of those, certainly again get in touch with us. Let us know what passport you're on, your background, everything like that. But yes, in general, even if you're kind of on job hunt in Vietnam, preference can be the seven native English speaking countries. Unfortunately, it's a bit like if you wanted Spanish lessons, you'd probably be looking for Spanish people, Spanish natives to teach you. It's a bit like that, but don't rule it out. Absolutely don't. Get in touch with us about your background, and we can chat to you a bit more about it. Um, Question then, can I teach IELTS in Vietnam as a non-native English speaker? I am from Serbia and have a Serbian passport. I think the same there. Definitely get in touch with us but about your eligibility. But IELTS as well, absolutely. As Evelyn was saying, there's so many different opportunities to teach all different ages, and there would be lessons for adults there as well, or young adults looking to do IELTS for work or uni or anything like that. So there's tons of opportunities out there as well. We're getting loads of questions here. I'll have to skim through them. I see another question about IELTS as well. Looking for more information on the IELTS teacher course. Yeah, so if you just get in touch with us, pop us an email or give us a call. We can talk you through the IELTS course. I won't cover it today just because we're focusing on teaching in Vietnam, but we do have a fantastic course that covers how to teach IELTS. A quick question there for you, Evelyn. Did you have a co-teacher or were you teaching alone?
So usually what they do is they'll give you a classroom assistant. It's not for every class if the school can provide it, or sometimes it's like their homeroom teacher will sit in the back and just do some work. They usually don't need to interfere. It's mostly just if they know a kid is prone to misbehaving or they know that the English standard isn't quite there and you might need some backup for translation. Um, some of them then they stop coming to the classes after a few weeks if they see there's kind of no issues and they'll just take themselves off to the staff room. But yeah, usually you do have an assistant available. They're not co-teaching, but they're just kind of there to support you and help you give the best lesson you can. And same with my current role. It's kind of a common thing in Vietnam with the foreign teachers. Most of your classes do have an assistant there, yeah.
Another great question actually is what did you find the most significant challenges with teaching young children in general? Maybe how you overcame them as well.
Biggest challenge with young children.
Yes.
Hmm. Uh, that's a good question. I suppose deciding how harsh to be with your feedback. You are there to encourage them to learn, and a lot of them in particular struggle with pronunciation. They'll be brilliant learners, they'll memorize the vocab, they'll know what they're trying to say, but a lot of them will really struggle to say it, which is so valid. Like I've been trying to learn Vietnamese, and oh my God, some days I cannot say a word of it. But I suppose then, yeah, deciding when to let it pass. If you've been bugging a kid again and again, they're just little ones. Like sometimes, you don't want to beat them down on it or anything. So just being as bright and encouraging as you can and going in with your game plan for the little kids, your list of songs on YouTube. Um, I suppose having your good attention grabber sometimes work better than others, I think. I have a friend who likes to do, I know it's fairly common, but if you hear me clap once, if you hear me clap twice, and then silence. That works with some kids. I personally found it gets a mixed reaction, but it's worth trying out. Some of the little kids love it. Just anything that kind of engages them, gets their brain back on it.
Yeah.
Good way to get them back on attention on you, especially when there's a massive number of them. You need something so you're not
Um,
screaming yourself.
yeah, well, that's actually another
Yeah.
question which I think you covered there, how to manage such a large class. But I think, as you said, you do just kind of get used to it and get into the flow of it.
You figure out what works and definitely just take it easy on yourself for the first couple of weeks, even the first month. There's going to be a lot of learning on the job. And even your kids starting to trust you more, you'll definitely see a change in at their attitude towards you and they get to know you a little bit more. They're so friendly, like they're dying to get to know you. So they'll be just so excited to learn more about you and they're a bit more comfortable as well.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, so I just saw there actually, Vanica said your tips are gold, Evelyn. They're super helpful. I agree. I think teacher trainer in your future there. Um, just some quick eligibility questions I have there as well. So someone said, I'm already doing the 180-hour TEFL course on your website. I didn't realize that the internship would include the full course. Who can I contact about this? That's no problem. So even if you already have your TEFL sort or you're currently studying a course with us, you can still apply for the internship. You may be able to avail of a discount as well on it. So definitely get in touch with us. We have loads of mediums, so you can go onto our website. There's a live chat button there. There's actually request a call back, which is really handy too if you want to chat with one of the advisors. You can pop us an email or a phone call. We also have WhatsApp, I believe. So anything at all to get in touch. I definitely recommend booking a call. Um, Someone says there, I am from South Africa. Can I teach in Vietnam? If you mean in general Vietnam, yes, there is opportunities. If you mean in terms of the internship program, this would be kind of subject to the eligibility again. Sometimes there can be requirements around English certification as well, even though I know that South Africa is a native, English is one of your first languages. So again, I wish it wasn't the way, but sometimes these things with visa barriers and everything just takes a few extra steps of screening. So definitely get in touch with your background and everything like that. And we can look at the best opportunities for you. Um, so I have a question there from Dale. I am 31 and I'm considering an internship in Vietnam. I have 10 years experience teaching adults with an intellectual disability. What is the average age range of others on the internship and how do people in their 30s find their experience? I'd say, Evelyn, was it kind of average, maybe 20 to 30 was the group you were with?
The youngest person on our group was 20 or 21, but the oldest person on our team was 35. So yeah, we had a big enough range of the 20 of us. And there was every age within that bracket. It wasn't leaning either side.
Nice.
So everyone had a great time. We all became really good friends. We all traveled together. So as long as you're outgoing person and you're happy to talk to everybody, you won't have a problem. We certainly
I
didn't.
agree.
Yeah. I just think that's interesting though, your comment, the intellectual disability. Vietnam is really looking to have more experts in these fields. It's not a very it's still slightly not taboo is too strong of a word, but it's not so out there yet, but it's something that's up and coming. So it's just interesting. I see you've mentioned it. You mightn't find a role specific to intellectual disability yet,
Mm.
but definitely the teaching, it's something that they're interested in and they're working towards, just to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think again, it's kind of the time warp, isn't it? The sort of catching up on all of this, what maybe we kind of take for
Yeah.
granted the support in, our own country, home countries. But definitely, yeah, it's good to hear they're kind of catching up with that as well. I had a question just at the start and just come back to from Jason before I forget. With finding employment teaching business English or ESP in Vietnam. Um, you're not looking to teach children in public schools. So when you sign up to any of our courses, you will automatically get full support in terms of finding a job, kind of guiding you in the best path, whether it's abroad or it's online. I do have to say though, finding employment for teaching business English would be quite popular online, so I definitely consider that. But all you need to do once you're an enrolled student with us is just get in touch and you'll be directed to our recruitment team. We can have a chat, a phone call, can send on lots of resources to kind of help you if you're looking at a particular pathway in Vietnam as well. But definitely have to say that teaching online is a great option there as well. So I'm going to wrap it up there, guys, to let you get on with your days. It was brilliant, brilliant questions. And Evelyn, thank you so much for all your gold advice, as Veronica said. It was brilliant. If you do have any further questions, guys, please feel free to get in touch with our team. You can pop us an email, phone call, all our details are on the website, or you can contact us through live chat as well. My colleagues just popped in there the review link again. If you enjoyed this webinar, feel free to leave some feedback or a review on this link. If you mention my name is Jessica or Jess. Email us a little photo or a screenshot, and we can enroll you on the 30-hour Teaching Young Learners course. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much again, and hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.